Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shae Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "Everything you want is on the other side of your resistance. Feel the resistance and do it anyway." So today I have Brandi Clark. She is a marketing and sales mentor for those in the fitness industry. With over 25 years in the fitness industry, she has served her clients in every capacity, from group instructor, personal trainer, master trainer, gym owner, CEC provider, and national presenter. She understands how quickly the industry changes and evolves and shows fitness professionals how to adapt so they don't get left behind. Her specialty is teaching people how to create content that really connects with their audience so they can find and enroll more clients using social media, build their business, and help more people achieve lasting, lifelong changes. So Brandi, thank you so much for being here on my podcast. So honestly, I feel like what you do, you could almost even expand to like other industries in all reality. Could you not?
I totally could. In fact, I specialize in, all of our clients are typically in the fitness industry, like physical transformation, nutrition, that kind of stuff. But I was recently so I speak at a lot of conferences, like fitness conferences. And at one recently, my husband said to me on the way back, he was like, "Couldn't you really just take all of that information and apply it to other industries as well at some point?" And I'm like, yeah, we really could, because the concepts are not just industry specific, they really apply into every industry. Like what we teach really just applies to online business and social media and just business in general. We just so happen to know the language of fitness, know the language of group fitness, personal trainers, and just it's like my love language.
Right, it's like your bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's easier to, because when I was reading your bio, like I'm a real estate agent. So when I was reading your bio, I'm like, I feel like this could, because the real estate world is always adapting and it's hard to keep up with what is the social media that I should be doing. Somebody just tell me, I'll do it. But for me to keep up with it, no thanks. So now tell me a little bit about your journey with how you got into this, how long you've been doing this particular role, because obviously you've been a trainer in the past, but tell me your journey that you've gone through.
So I started out many years ago just as a group fitness instructor at the local gym in our town, in small town Idaho, which I don't live in Idaho anymore, but that's where I was, and became a personal trainer after that, and then ended up being in management there, like running the group fitness department, and then wanted to buy that gym and worked with the owner for almost a year on purchasing the gym. And then in the 11th hour, he bailed. He chickened out. He decided not to. I can call it bailed. I can call it chickened out. He probably calls it a strategic decision. To me, I was like, pacha. So at the 11th hour, I don't think I can do this. We're not going to move forward. So I was angry at that point. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy a different gym across town, and I'm now going to become your competition. So I called up the gym across town and never been there. Actually, never even set foot in that gym. Called up the owner and said, "Hey, I want to buy your gym." And he was like, "It's not for sale." And I was like, "Well, everything's for sale." Isn't it? I mean, really just the price has to be right. And you know this because you're in real estate, right? Like it's just, hey,
so.
the price is right. Anything's for sale. Ended up sitting down with him and lo and behold, it was for sale. Not hurried, but it was a long process. Ended up buying that gym and starting the gym and rebranding it. It was a franchise gym that luckily for us wasn't doing super well. So, and when I say us, it was me and my sister. We bought it together. And so we started that gym, we rebranded it, and we had enough of a following in our community that we were able to grow it and stay in that gym for a while. And we noticed after a couple of years that people were starting to, CrossFit was really becoming super like trendy and people were loving it. And people still love CrossFit, don't get me wrong. But so we're like, if you can't beat them, join them. And our process last time worked. So we called up the local CrossFit and said, hey, we'd like to buy your CrossFit. And he actually was like, great, I'm trying to move out of town. So let's do it. And we were able to close that one in 30 days. So we found ourselves owning this really large gym with like kid care and group fitness and tanning and massage and all of that. And then also owning a CrossFit and trying to mesh the two worlds. Now, if you know anything about the fitness industry and CrossFit and what they call global gyms, the two worlds don't mesh super well. Like they didn't merge as well as we thought they would. Like we were going to offer like a joint membership for people to go to both CrossFit and the gym. And there was only a handful of people that ended up taking us up on that. So we ended up running them completely separate, right? And offloaded the CrossFit a few years later. And then in 2018, I sold out to my sister. She kept it and I sold my partnership out to her in 2018. And then I went home I always say air quote, I went home to start an online business and started an online business helping people lose weight, ended up creating like a bridal transformation, ended up niching down to brides, which is the craziest story of how that even happened because girl was like, I've been married like 20 years. I'm not super like Twitter pated about weddings and all that. You know what I'm saying? Ended up niching down and creating this entire business, helping brides lose weight for their wedding. And then started teaching people how I did that in the online space. And then it transformed into what I do today, which is the business side of things, the marketing side of things for fitness professionals. So that was my journey. It just happened one step at a time, right? Like all of these happy mistakes, I would say, like not mistakes, that's not the right word, but little steps along the way that kind of map out your journey. And then you end up being in a place that you never thought you'd be. And for me, that's Southern Kentucky running an online business.
That's crazy. So one of my favorite quotes is you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards.
Yes.
So I feel like that's a really good example of what your life and how it's become. Because one of the biggest struggles that I find with not only myself but other people is like everybody's always pushing, get a clear vision. Where do you want to go? What should you do? But like in your story, like you probably didn't have a clear vision on where you were wanting to go. You just were going with the flow and things took you in certain directions. A lot of times, I'm sure there was a lot of resistance, a lot of setbacks, a lot of heartaches that you talk about it, but you brush over it as if it wasn't a big deal because you've moved forward from it. But I would imagine at that time, there was a lot of tough decisions you had to make along the way.
Oh, yeah.
How did you end up in Kentucky or where you're at now, like physically?
Yeah. So I lived in Idaho, southeastern Idaho for 45 years, almost my entire life. And because we have the online business, so we were able to move anywhere we wanted. A couple of years ago, my dad passed away in 2021, and then my mom passed away in 2022. So within like literally 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days, that's our family's, wow, 1, 2, 3, 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days, we went from having both parents to having neither parents. And my mom's passing was very quick. She had cancer. My dad had Parkinson's, so his was a little bit more long and drawn out. We knew that was coming, but my mom's, we really, up until the day she passed, we actually were thinking she was gonna kick it. Shortly after that, my husband came out to Kentucky because his sister lives here, and he just came out to help out with her, and she's got a little hobby farm here, and he called and he's, I love it here. It's so pretty. It's completely different in the southeastern Idaho. We should think about moving here. And while he was here, like, a house came on the market, was basically 5 minutes away from her, and it was everything I'd ever dreamed of. Like it checked every box I had ever wanted in a house, like literally everything. And so he came and took a look at it. They FaceTimed me while they looked at it. And we bought it or made an offer and bought it the next day. I'd never even been to Kentucky. I'd never even seen the house. I know your face right now. That's exactly what people do when they're like, "You never even seen the house." I'm like, "No, I know I FaceTime."
Well, it's not even the house situation
Oh.
that blows my mind, because I get people who buy like FaceTime and stuff like that quite often, but it's the fact that you had never even been in Kentucky and you're just like, okay, sounds good, let's do it, babe. I trust you. But I love that about your marriage though too, is like you just, all right, like you faith. Like you just go, you give it up to God. I don't know if you're a Christian person or not, but you just give it up to God. Like, all right, here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, it felt right. It was really like looking back, it was sometimes we're like, can you believe do you remember the time we just moved our family from Idaho to Kentucky? Some of our kids were super mad though. Like we had so right now my kids are 19, 17, 13, and 10. And at the time they were, they'd be 16, like 15, no, 16, 13, just -3 to everything I just said. And our oldest was going into, it was between his sophomore and his junior in high school, probably one of the worst times you could move somebody. And his first day of school.
In junior high, I feel like that's.
Oh yeah, that would be traumatic as well, right? Literally his first day of school, he gets in the car and after school he says, "I am never gonna forgive you for this." And I was like, oh, it was like such a gut punch. Now though, he's thriving. He's got great friends, a great girlfriend. And I just recently asked him, I said, "What if I told you we were moving back to Idaho?" And he's, "I wouldn't go, I'd stay here." So
that kind of gives me chills though, because as a parent, like you do think a lot about your kids. What is this going to do to my kids? How is this going to affect them? Like you said, it just probably felt like a gut punch, because I would love to move. My husband absolutely does not want to, but all of our family is here. Like my parents, his parents, my grandparents, his grandparents, my sisters, brothers, everybody. So that is the tough part. We don't really have somewhere where we could move where we would have family. I'm sure that was like a severe gut punch, because you always have in the back of your head, like you feel that you're doing what is best for you and your family. But at the same time, like then when you get that from your son, "I'm never going to forgive you." It's, shoot, did I make a big mistake?
Yeah, I just messed up big time.
Yeah. Did you and your husband have that conversation of, did we mess up? Do we need to go back? Did you have any resistance or hesitation? And I guess, does your husband help you in your business too? Or is he like,
yeah. So when we moved, so my business supports us. He has a job, but it's mostly because he needs to be working. Like he needs to have something to do. I don't know if we are one of those couples that probably could work together in the business very well. I might be like, "I'm the boss," and he might be like, "Are you the boss?"
I'm kind of okay with it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, should it be that way? That's really funny you say that, because my husband and I are the same way. Like my business kind of supports us too. He does his thing, but he literally just told me yesterday, because we did go. Part of me feels like we couldn't work together, but then yesterday he had me go with him on an appointment, because he does land sales, and one of the listings he's going to be getting has a house on it, so he wanted me to go with him. And on our way back, I literally told him, I said, honestly, I feel like we could probably work together, because I'm with EXP, he's with a different brokerage. But I did say that, but it would have to be more like me running the show. And he goes, "Shae, that's funny you say that, because I literally was thinking yesterday," because we have some investment properties that I needed him to go do some stuff at. He goes, "I literally was thinking yesterday, maybe I should just be Shae's bitch." That's what he said. He goes, "Maybe I should just be your bitch. Like, you just tell me what to do, where to go.
Yeah.
Like, as long as like you are handling everything financially, like I can just do all like the things that we need done on the side that's not like income producing to me."
And we did that for a while. Because it got to the point where my income was surpassing his. And listen, and here's the thing, like everybody who's listening probably everybody's building businesses, or all entrepreneurs, they get the family life, the juggle. I always had the dream of, quote, retiring my husband, because you hear it like that's super trendy, and everybody goes, "Oh, I retired my husband." So I always had this dream to be like this powerful businesswoman who made enough money that I could retire my husband. So when it came to the point where my income was surpassing his, and it made more sense for me to keep working than stop working and go get the kids from school and then run them to cheer and do all of those things. It made more sense for him to do that than for me to do that. Then it was like, then he was able to exit his business, right? Which he doesn't own a business. He works for people. So he wasn't like drawn to his business so much, or his work so much, that he was like, I've got to stay. He was like, all right, dude, I'm out. So he came home, he quit his job, and he came home, and then I was working all day. And I got to tell you, a little piece of me is like, bro, go do some things.
I was gonna ask you, like, because go do something, go find something to do. Do you ever feel, because that's how we're at too, like part of me is like, no, I just want you to handle the kids and take care of all of that. But at the same time, I feel guilty because I want to be part of their life too.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like the other day, I was thinking like it'd almost be nice to not have that financial pressure at the same time.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that? Where sometimes you're just like, there's just a lot of pressure because you have times where you're doing really well, I would imagine, and other times like doctor bills are coming in or like expenses kind of start to climb and income starts to kind of dwindle.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more pressure. Have you ever felt, sometimes I wish like all the financial pressure wasn't on me?
Yes, because every business ebbs and flows. And I will say that I probably once a month have a freak out.
Okay, good. Because me too.
Yeah, because I'm always like one day a month I'll be like, oh my God, we're not making any money. And then my husband will be like, you literally just told me yesterday you had the biggest cash month ever. And I'll be like, like, where'd the money go? Where's all the money? Yeah. But like he has to be doing things, right? So he does have a job. He did go get a job when we moved here to Kentucky, and he loves it. And he has a lot of flexibility in his job. But and I will tell you this, it is comforting to have that income coming in, especially when you're thinking about scaling and growing. Because if you're like, I need to hire a new team member and it's going to cost me X, Y, or Z, can I sustain this? Here's an actual situation. So for a very long time in my business, I was hiring C+ players or like B- players. Okay. Meaning people that could just get the job done, but they didn't excel. It wasn't their specialty. People I thought I could pay for. Okay. So I'm like, it felt safe to pay a lower income, like to pay like a lower wage or a lower salary versus pay a lot of money for somebody who like really was an expert and really knew what they were doing. When I went to get my first A+ hire, I remember thinking listen, no, we're not messing around anymore with half-assed. Sorry, I probably should.
Oh, no, you can cuss.
Okay.
No, I
Okay,
said
okay. I know this is a mom's podcast. There's probably kids listening. So sorry, you guys. So sorry. But I was like, I need to have a legit person for this part of the business, and I'm gonna hire somebody, and it's a big wage. It's a big wage. And I really doubted myself. Like, can I do this? This is a lot of money that I'm gonna have to make and then give to somebody else. So leaning into that, and I will tell you, it feels good to always have that other income coming in as like a buffer. We've never needed it. It's nice to have though in times like this where you're like, okay, what if it takes me a couple of months to make back that income? Or what if it takes me a couple of months or what if crap goes sideways in 60 days and I don't have enough money to pay his payroll in 90 days? So there's that income, that buffer there, which is nice. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
things will work out. Like, because and I like to do investments. So, and they're big investments. So like I build up my income, not my income, but like my savings for investments.
Yeah.
And that's also like my buffer if I absolutely needed to. And like I just made a huge investment into data centers because the return is massive.
Yeah.
I've never done it before. So there's a big scary aspect when it comes to that, but the return is fantastic and it's with my coach. So I have a ton of faith and trust out there. But right now, and then I have all my other money wrapped up into another investment that caught fire. And I didn't want to take out a loan for it. So I'm like funding the deal kind of thing.
So it literally caught on fire.
It literally caught on fire.
Oh, okay, with flames.
Yeah, no, literally caught on fire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it happened last January, and we had to fight insurance and all of those things. So like right now, like I'm asset rich but liquid poor. You ever feel like you're
girl, yes. Yes. Yeah.
And it scares you a little bit. Because my coach even asked, he's like, Shae, are you ever like worried like when you get pretty low on funds? And I was like, yes and no, because I've gotten to the point that I've been in this business so long and I do not just little things. Like, and I'm not stupid with my money. I don't go out and recklessly spend. I am buying and paying big money for assets.
Big things.
For big things, but it's big things.
Yeah.
And I said, no, not really. Like I just have a faith and trust that things will work out. Like don't get me wrong. I stress out like you're talking to your husband, like, oh, no, we're going to do this. But then I'm like, okay. Things will happen the way they meant. Like I verbally committed, not in writing yet, to purchase one of my listings. if we can't get it sold. And so then that's another stressor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, should I be doing that? Or should I be putting this money elsewhere? Should I be setting it aside? All these things, I still stress about it. But nope, we're going to give it up to God.
Yeah, I think that like for me, because yes, I can resonate with everything that you just said, right? What we do is we have like a buffer, we have a savings account that will get up to a certain point and then we dump into something else. And then but what I got to tell you, after a dump, to me, it feels like I hate seeing less than a certain number in there, and it gives me a little bit of anxiety. And then I want to start dumping everything back in there to get it back up. I don't know. And I would think probably the reason why, if I was really like thinking about my behavior, it's probably from all of the years of not having money. You know what I mean? Like such a struggle bus for us. Like yeah. So I can remember I can remember months where there had $100 left in my checking account, and I was like, "Sweet, I got $100. Let's go to TJ Maxx." You know what I'm saying? And I would like, I would go buy me 2 shorts for $19.99, and I would do that, right? And then it got to the point where if there was extra, I just wanted to spend it. And I don't know if it was because I was uncomfortable with having the extra, but I think that's what happened was I got uncomfortable with having extra money because I was so used to having no money. I was so used to having very little and needing to budget. And actually, I've never really budgeted, but checking the bank account before I go get groceries, like that stuff was real for us for a long time. And so I have a tendency to want to, when I get extra money, to want to spend it, right? So I had to identify that I was doing that. I had to be like, okay, why am I going to TJ Maxx and spending $300 on stuff I literally don't even need? Because I have this habit of wanting to spend money and have this habit of being uncomfortable with money, right? And not having a surplus of money. And that took me years to figure out that was what I was doing. And it's still my natural tendency. I still want to do it. And I've realized that you will be the same person with those shorts or without those shorts, Brandy.
I think for me, I don't spend money on clothes. It's so funny because we had a snowstorm back in January, and when I get bored, I look for investments. Like I'm looking for something to buy at a good deal. So we had 5 days of terrible winter storms. Nobody was doing anything. I'm looking at properties in Belize because I have a friend who bought some land in there. I'm like, all right, let's move to Belize.
Why not? Let's do it.
I was talking to my CPA. I'm like, can I depreciate assets there? Can I do a 1031 exchange if I sell this property here? And I found out I can't do any of that. I'm like, that's fun. I'm not doing that anymore.
Fine.
It's funny because I told my friends that, and they're like, Shae, when people are bored, they go buy Lululemon stuff. They go like shopping, not looking for land. I'm like, well, that's the difference between you and I. Yeah. But it's a good thing. But at the same time, like, I think for me, like I build up that surplus and then I dump it into an investment. I think I do that because I almost want, this sounds terrible. This is how messed up mompreneurs are in all reality. Yeah. But I want the anxiety of being low on funds, so I work harder. Because I feel like when there's like a huge surplus in my account, I get a little bit more lax and comfortable, and I slow down. So then I'm like, okay, I don't need to work as hard. But then when I don't work as hard now, I don't feel the pain now. I feel it in 2 months and 3 months. It's supposed to be closing. Yeah. So I think that's part of my problem. Yeah. It's not a problem. It's a good problem to have kind of thing. But I feel like if I have this surplus, like I was talking to one of my best friends, and she says that she likes to have a big chunk in their savings. To me, I'm like, but you know how your money isn't making money sitting here. You know what I mean? So like, why not dump? I don't know how much they like to, we don't talk about it, but she said she likes to have a surplus. So I'm assuming like 60,000, but I'm like, but if you could take that, you're making 0.002% on your money sitting in the savings account. Why not take that and put it into
a rental or something?
Yeah, like a liquid asset, and they do like life insurance and stuff like that. But I don't know. That was where my mind went, but I didn't even talk to her about that. So it's not a language that she speaks, but that was like my thought on, I think that's why I do what I do, is I almost like the idea of not having as much money there.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't make sense.
And like on a, maybe even just a slightly smaller scale, with maybe what some of your listeners can resonate with would be if they have 3 or 4 clients, like for somebody who's starting out, maybe they've got 3 or 4 clients and they're making $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 a month. They're like feeling good about it. And they've maybe never made this kind of money in their business before. And they feel comfortable. And they're like, okay, I don't have to keep grinding and keep pushing because I'm making a little bit more than I've ever made. Whereas if they kept grinding and they kept pushing, they could maybe have 7 or 8 clients. They could make $7,000 or $8,000 a month. And just identifying kind of our own habits and what we do and where we feel comfortable, and then keeping yourself in that uncomfortable a little bit. Keeping yourself, like, first of all, identifying what you do, right? Like, you want to buy rental, you want to buy land, you want to buy something like that. The regular people buy Lulu, like you said. We get on to Amazon and we make for Amazon purchases.
I do that too. I do.
But the pattern is a pattern, and everybody listening is going to have a pattern that they do. My pattern was if there's $100 left, I'm going to go to TJ Maxx, and if there's $1,000 left, I'm going to go to TJ Maxx. And it was recognizing that I felt uncomfortable having extra money, right? And so you recognize that you're less comfortable because you want to have that money, so you got to grind and get it back up, where I was like, dump it, get rid of it, no matter where I can put it, whether it's in leggings or not. Right? But like, everybody listening is going to have some sort of pattern, some sort of money history or pattern that they do that's probably not self-serving in some capacity. Because even though yours is self-serving, like where you take your money and you put it into a rental, you put it into land or something like that, you don't grind if you have $60,000 sitting in your savings account.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I'm good. I don't got to grind. So you got to dump it and then grind to get it back up. What if you just kept grinding?
Yeah.
What if you kept grinding and got it to 120? So yeah, we all do it. It's totally human nature. We have these patterns.
And you got to find what works for you. Like, I would say for me, that's probably a good thing. Like, I'm dumping them into other investments.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm just recklessly spending it. I'm dumping it into other investments. And I don't know for sure if that's what I do. But yeah, when it comes to, and the listeners, the other thing that I want to talk about too is most successful entrepreneurs typically came from nothing. I remember growing up and trying to I remember my parents fighting over money. I don't remember what exactly it was. And I tried to give my mom $20 of my own money, and she did not want to take it. I was so mad at her because I'm like, $20 can help you so much. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. And I also remember my parents talking about, we had an old farm place that they could only replace one window a year because that's all they could afford. And they did it themselves. You know what I mean? So like it's, and I think there's that scarcity mindset is I don't want to go back there, so I'm going to keep grinding. And that's something that my husband and I battle with because he grew up not having much money either. But I am so focused. Anything I've ever done, any job that I've ever had, I get so focused on that job that I want to do the best, which is a good thing. Yeah. But it can also put some stress on the relationship and family dynamic too that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Because if I'm so focused on my work and I want to grow and I do this, even if I'm physically at home with my family, mentally I'm not. Yeah. Not all the time. I'm getting better at it. But then I feel like when I'm focusing on my family, then I lack in my business. And it's,
Yeah. You know what? It ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. So I work from home. I run our businesses from the house. And even though I'm physically home, more than half the time I'm sitting in here working. And then I get the mom guilt and I'm like, I should probably be out with the kids, or I should be doing homework. And then I'm just like, I don't want to do homework. I would rather hire a tutor to come and do the homework. Like, but then I don't know where this comes from, but then it's total mom guilt. Because I'm like, I'm the one that's supposed to be doing it. No, I can't freaking do Common Core math. I don't know how to I can't help her with her math. No. But I should be the one that wants to do that. And don't get me wrong, I love hanging out with my kids and doing things like that, but I love working. Right. And sometimes I'll say to my husband, I should probably work less. And he's like, why? You love it. What else are you going to be doing? You're not going to sit here and watch TV. What else are you going to be doing?
My thought with the tutor thing is I would rather be working while somebody else is helping with a tutor, and then we can go out and have fun when we're done with that. You know what I mean? I'd rather do something fun with the kids, because otherwise, when I help with my kids with homework, all it is an argument. All it does is an argument, especially with my oldest. Like, that's all it is. It turns into an argument. So if I can have somebody else help her with homework, one, she's going to learn so much better. We can focus on that while I'm working, and then we can come together and have a good time. And then go do something when everything's done. Yeah. And she's getting the help she needs. You're working. There's no fight. Yeah. So just picking your battles, because you get to define your own meaning of good mom. You know what I mean? You really get it. You get to, and you get to make it be whatever it is for you. And I can tell you right now, your kids think you're a good mom. No matter you're helping them with their homework or you have a tutor helping them with their homework, right? They probably think you're a really good mom. Like, we have this little system in our house
So I put a sign up on my door and my kids totally ignore it. They don't read it. I put a sign up on my door that says, if this door is closed, do not come in. And then in parentheses, it was like, yes, even you. And then after that, it was like, you can have my phone when I'm done.
Right.
Because my kids will want to come in and have my phone. But I've got this whiteboard on my wall opposite my computer here. And now, because they completely ignore the sign, they'll come in and the door's closed if I'm like doing something like this where I can't stop and talk to them. But they'll come in and they'll write me notes on the whiteboard while I'm doing a coaching call or something. And they'll be like, thumbs up or thumbs down. So I'll just take my hand off screen.
Oh, that's me too.
And I just do this or this. We're like, nobody know I'm making eye contact with Zoom. I'm like, they have no idea somebody's right behind them freaking out because they want to go swim and they can't swim without mom. And they're like, you said you'd be done at 11 and it's 11:03. And I'm just like, stop. And I'm over here going like this.
No, I'm kidding. Definitely
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Or like all of the sticky notes that come that are slid under the Zoom from the kids. But yeah, no, you get to define what being a good mom means,
So
and it's
funny.
hard.
I can so relate to that because I have an office and I have a glass window right here and there's another conference room right there. So when my kids are here at my office with me, they'll be in there and they're like, oh, can I have some chips? And I'm like,
Yeah. And they're like holding them up behind your computer, and you're just like,
go ahead. And they think I'm talking to the podcast people,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
yeah.
I totally relate. I know you got to get going here pretty soon. So I did want to ask a question. So if you were to give yourself one piece of advice or somebody who's just getting into the industry as an entrepreneur, mompreneur, what sort of advice would you give?
The biggest piece of advice I would give is to not worry about what other people are thinking. It's none of your business what other people think about you. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people to get past because we're all afraid to start at zero, right? We're all afraid to show up and start with one client, but everybody starts at zero. Everybody starts with one client, right? So because we specialize in social media and leveraging social media to get clients into your fitness business, personal training, online, all that kind of stuff, our clients are often scared to have an online presence. They're scared to be visible. They don't know what to say. They're afraid of what people are going to think when they start showing up. And my piece of advice is who cares what they think? Because I'll end with this one story. When I was transitioning out of helping brides lose weight for a wedding, because I had 20 years of fitness experience and everybody in our community knew me as the girl that owned the gym and I taught at the university and I was like the spin teacher and the fitness instructor and the group and the personal trainer, like all of this. That's what everybody knew me as. That was what I thought my identity was, right? But I wanted to transition to the business side of things. I wanted to talk about how we did it and what we were doing, and I wanted to transition out of that. That was a thought. That was an active transition. And I would tell my husband, I want to start talking about this online. I want to start talking about marketing. I want to start talking about how I got sales. And I want to start talking about how we converted people into their bridal transformation or how we made the signature offer and all that kind of stuff. But I'm so afraid. I'm like nervous what people will think. And I think one time he finally got sick and tired of me saying that because sometimes our spouses, there's only a couple people who can say things to us like we need to hear it, our spouse and our sisters. And so he says to me one day, he was like, who are all these people? And I was like, all of them. And I was like, and when I had to put a name to who all these quote people were that were going to quote judge me, there was two people. It came out to being two people who I was afraid of their opinions on. And I was letting two people, and I can still tell you who they are. I was letting two people's potential. Yeah, what I thought. Yeah, what I thought they would think of me stop me from doing what I wanted. And when I finally told him the names, he was like, those guys are your friends. You know what I mean? And it like at the end of the day, needing to name those people, like forcing myself to actually realize it's really not everybody. No. It's not everybody. Not everybody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to see what you're doing. It really put things into perspective. And it was like, okay, yeah. You're right. That's so silly. Not everybody. So getting past that, just going after it, doing it, not worrying about what other people think. And I'm human. Still something I worry about today, this day. What are people going to think about that? But it doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter because other people's opinions aren't going to pay your bills. No. Yeah, and nobody's going to come and pull you out of a crowd and put you on a stage. Nobody's going to Yes. Nobody's going to come and say, hey, you know what? You look like a great business owner. We're going to feed you 20 clients. No, you have to go and get it. And you cannot go and get it if you're not visible, and you cannot be the best kept secret. Yeah. So go get visible, go and get it. Put yourself on that stage, put yourself in that video, put yourself on wherever it is that you want to go. You got to put yourself there.
Best known beats best. People can't come to you if they don't even know you. And going back to what you were saying is somebody else's problem with me is not my problem.
Yeah.
That's another quote that I really love. To the listeners, I really want to challenge you, whether you are hesitant about starting your business or getting going or growing or pushing yourself to getting onto social media, the challenge to you today is if you can tell me those people, maybe not me, but tell somebody who those people are that you're so afraid of. Name them. Don't just say, like Brandy said, don't just say they or the people. Who are they? Put a name to them and then figure out, like, that doesn't really matter. Their opinion of you, one, they could be your friends or they could be your family. They're going to support you. And if they don't, then you need to be able to separate yourself from them. But it doesn't matter. Like, at the same time, going back to what I said before, is somebody else's problem with me is not my problem. Like Brandy said, they're not going to pay your bills. No. They're not the ones paying your bills. That would be my challenge for the listeners today, is name the people that you are so afraid of to judge you before, that's holding you back.
It takes all the power away, that they don't even know they have over you, second of all.
Right. Yeah. Don't give somebody else that power over you. And let alone, they probably don't want you to have that. They don't want to have that power over you. But yeah, that would be my challenge. So Brandy, I truly appreciate everything that you have to offer today. I know you do social media. Do you have like trainings online? I guess, how does your business kind of work? And if somebody was interested in learning more about you, where can they go?
So we have a 6-month program called 6-Figure Framework, where we take people from zero to business inside of 6 months. It's very hands-on. It's very intimate. And we do cohorts. You guys can find me on social media. So on Facebook, it's Brandi Clark. On Instagram, I'm The Messy Hair Millionaire. And we have a Facebook group called Successful Online Fit Pros. And yeah, we have a ton of trainings that we do. We do free webinars, free master classes, all of that kind of stuff. So if anything I said resonated with you today and you want to learn a little bit more about any of that, just jump on over and find us on any of the socials and we'll connect and get you hooked up with some cool resources.
That's awesome. And you primarily focus in the fitness industry, right? But you guys are maybe thinking about branching out.
Yeah, we do have people. We're not actively branching out. Don't get me wrong. We have people who come to us that are not in the fitness industry, but we do specialize in the fitness industry. So we have like counselors who come through us, and we have had some insurance agents and stuff like that. 90% of our clients are in the fitness industry of some capacity.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for being here. And yeah, so everybody go to her website, reach out to her. I know she'd love to help you. And again, I appreciate you being here and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shae J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.